affect you in the ring a lot too after.
Yeah, that, and then, then I have no supraspinatus either.
None?
None. It's completely severed.
When did that happen?
Well, it was a progression of a lot of tears, and the last tear I was working, I think, maybe around 2010. I was working with Kane, who's a just big dude, and I was trying to throw him up on my shoulder, and I was going to try and give him a pile driver, but he's 330 pounds, and his weight kind of gets stuck here, and I'm too stupid to put him down and readjust. So I'm trying to pop my hips and get him up there, and finally I heard it pop. I was like, holy shit. Got through the match, flew to Nashville the next day, and I said, Doc, I need a shot of cortisone. And he goes, Mark, your shoulder really needs to be fixed. And I'm like, Doc, I'm right in the middle of something right now. I can't. I said, let me get through Mania. I said, just, give me the shot, and then after Mania, I'll come and I'll get it fixed. And reluctantly, he did. And normally the shot would last 4 or 5 months, 6 months. So he's in Nashville. So I get the shot. I fly back to Austin. By the time I get home, it's like I didn't get the shot at all. Mm. So I call him back up, and I was like, all right, Dr. Bird, you're a little smarter than I am. He says, well, fact, Mark, it's so bad, like, I want you to go see somebody else. I want you to see a shoulder specialist. So I go see Dr. Andrews. Dr. Andrews is like he's the guy that did Tommy John. He's the athlete's doctor. I go see him, and it's the first time this has ever happened to me. I go into the examining room, and he's already there waiting. I don't know if anybody else has ever been to the doctor's office, and he's sitting there and he's looking at me. And I'm looking at him because I'm a little taken back that he's already in the room, right? And we're looking at each other. Nobody says anything. And he goes, son, he goes, I don't know if there's anything I can do for you. He had obviously already seen my MRI and everything. He says, can you lift your arm? I was like, yes, sir. Yeah, I can lift it. He says, can I see you lift it? Well, yeah. He said, can you lift to the side? No, yeah, I can lift to the side. He goes, there's no reasonable explanation why you're able to do that. I'm like, he says, you've taught yourself how to use that arm with that severe injury. He goes, so we talked for a while, and he says, can we meet back in about an hour? He goes, I need to think about this. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm in Birmingham. Like, what am I going to do? I got nothing else to do. I got to find out what's going on with his shoulder. So we meet back in an hour, and he goes, I'm going to try. He goes, I don't think I can fix it. He says, but I feel like I owe it to you just to try.
Wow.
And even with that, I'm thinking, well, that's James Andrews. Like, surely he's going to fix it. He's just being humble. So I have the surgery. I wake up out of surgery, and my wife is, she's right there. And I could look on her face, and I could tell, like, it wasn't good. And I was like, babe. And she goes, and about that time, Dr. Andrews comes in. He goes, well, we found it. I was like, you found it? He goes, yeah. He said, the end of the supraspinatus was about back here. He says, we clamped on, and we pulled, we tugged, and he said, we might have been able to get it sewn back together. He said, but the first time you try to use it, it was going to pop. It was just so dead because it had been torn for so long.
How long was it torn before you went to talk to him?
Well, that last one was when it tore completely in half.
So it had already been damaged?
It had already been damaged, yeah, and I was getting shots of cortisone to kind of mask the pain.
That's why when it popped off, that was it.
And there wasn't enough left to attach it back. He says, he says, your biceps tendon had come out of its groove too. He said, we did put that back. That should help you a little bit. I'm like, okay. And so, I go back to work. But now, now I'm getting older. And so, my physical skills are already starting to kind of diminish. And when that happens. But now, like when I'm in a match, now I've got to be cognizant all the time of where my shoulder is in relation to whatever it is I'm doing. Like there was a lot of things like tombstones. Like I had to change how I would pick people up because I couldn't get my arm out extended because I had no strength. And I couldn't clothesline people. I mean, I had to, I had to have like my arm almost supported by my lat to do a lot of different moves.
And there's no other option? Like they can't do a cadaver?
Well, in the shit that I do and we do, it would have tore. And he told me that. He said we could have tried a cadaver. He says it's not gonna last if you want to wrestle. And at that point, I had I've been doing it this long with it hurt. I'll figure out a way. I wasn't ready to give it up yet. And so I waited a couple of years, and then I called Dr. Dugas. And I said, hey, Doc, because he assisted on the first one with Dr. Andrews. I said, hey, you guys doing anything new with the shoulder? And he says, yeah. He said, come on down. He said, I think I can hook you up. I was like, oh shit, okay. I wish somebody had called me. Let me know. Right. Let me know what's going on. And so same kind of deal. Have the surgery, wake up, see, Michelle's sitting there, see her. Didn't have quite the same disappointed look on her face, about this time. Here comes Dr. Dugas. And he goes, plan A? No, that didn't work, which would have to reattach everything. He said, plan B? No, that didn't work either. He said, went to plan C. He says, which will help your recovery time. He says, well, what I did, they took the part of my infraspinatus, the one in the back, they detached part of it, stretched it over the top, so my infraspinatus is doing double duty now.
Wow.
So it works where if you were to look down before the surgery, like if you had a tube that could see down in my shoulder, I was 100% exposed. You could see the joint. So now I'm about 50 to 70% covered by the infraspinatus that he stretched over the top and reattached it. Once again, modern medicine. And, my right side isn't as strong as my left side. I'm right-hand dominant, but I'm 3 times as strong as I was before I had the surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.